This is your official WWE Royal Rumble 2020 review here on the YouTube channel. Jeff here with you. It took place from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Let's get right into the action. They had two pre-show matches on their 2-hour pre-show. The opening contest on the pre-show had Sheamus making his first return since coming back from his concussion issues. He took on Chad Gable here. Crowd clearly behind Sheamus for the most part. I thought the match was pretty basic here, nothing really spectacular. Primarily a showcase for Sheamus. Chad Gable did get some offense and he had a few hope spots, but ultimately in the end, Sheamus won with the bro kick at 12 minutes and 37 seconds to get the expected win. He was my pick, and sure enough, he did get the win here. I gave the match a C+. Sheamus winning bumped it up a little bit under that. I thought this was just pretty much a basic average match. The other match they had on the pre-show, which surprised me a bit here, was for the WWE United States title. We had Andrade Cien with Zelina Vega taking on Humberto Carrillo here. I thought this match was pretty good for what it was. They gave the match time. Both guys doing their high-flying stuff here. Both guys I thought looked pretty good. The finish kind of came out of nowhere here. They had done a deal after Humberto had hit an avalanche spot off the top rope for a very close near fall. Humberto had gone for a sunset flip roll-up, and then, of course, Andrade then countered out of that and actually hooked one himself and actually got the win with it. So Andrade got a surprise shock win here. I mean, it's not surprising that he won because he was my pick, but the way he won here, he didn't win with the hammerlock DDT. He had teased it a few times, never hit it. Zelina Vega did not get involved, which was kind of interesting as well. Humberto took the clean loss. Andrade got a clean win here with no interference from Zelina Vega. She was pretty much not a non-factor here. So Andrade won on a roll-up there at 14 minutes and 17 seconds. I gave the match a B-. I thought for the most part it was pretty good. So those were the two matches they had on the pre-show. It opened the main part of the show of the Royal Rumble. So it started with the Falls Count Anywhere match. We had Roman Reigns taking on Baron Corbin here. Of course, like I said, a Falls Count Anywhere match, so you knew they were going to be outside the ring most of the time, which is what they were. This match pretty much played exactly the way I thought it would. As the match got rolling, all the interference came in. We saw, of course, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler come out on Corbin's behalf. We saw the Usos come on Roman Reigns' behalf, as I expected. So the one Uso did the spot off the top, doing the dive and taking everyone out. That was one of the spots that everyone's talking about. Another spot, they were working their way through the crowd, which was kind of pedestrian, I thought. Then they come across these porta potties here. They do the deal where Roman Reigns gets Corbin into one of the porta potties, locks him in, and then they do the deal where Roman Reigns ultimately flips Corbin while in the porta potty on the side there. So the crowd did the holy crap chants, and I guess you could really say that Corbin was really sitting on his throne when this was happening. So anyways, then they eventually worked their way up to above the dugout. It was the Astros dugout. This was actually a pretty cool visual, so nice of them to actually use the Astros dugout here on top. We get towards the end here. Corbin had recovered and then did some damage on Roman Reigns. Reigns was able to fight back, and ultimately he hit the Superman punch on top of the dugout. Then he hit the spear. Not a great-looking spear, but, I mean, they were in the dugouts, so, I mean, I'm willing to give it a little bit of a pass. Roman Reigns hit the spear, got the 1, 2, 3 actually on top of the Astros dugout, which was actually a nice little twist there. Roman Reigns got the win here. I actually picked Corbin to win. So we'll see if this was the final blow-off to this or if it's going to continue. I believe this is going to continue, and we'll find out why here in a little bit. Next match was the first of the two Royal Rumble matches. This was the Women's Royal Rumble match. Let's just go over it right now. We'll go over the order of the entrance and the order of elimination here. We had Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair be the first two out, Bianca Belair being one of the, quote, surprises up from NXT for the match. And these two would actually stay in the match for a while. Bianca Belair had a great showing here. They made her out to be a monster. Kind of a little sampler of what I think we're going to be seeing from her, and I'll talk about that. Number 3 was Mighty Molly. She was one of the surprises. Got a nice reaction. I thought for the time she was in there, she looked okay. She had a big crossbody spot off the top rope at one point. She ultimately got eliminated by Bianca Belair. Then we had Nikki Cross come out. She was out there for a little while. She ultimately got eliminated by Bianca Belair, and then we had Lana come out at number 5. She cut a promo. I'm sure everyone saw this photo. There was a fan holding up a sign in the aisleway saying that Lana cheats more than the Astros. I thought that was kind of clever. They're concerned what the Astros have been going through lately. Lana ultimately gets eliminated by Liv Morgan not long afterwards. She was actually the first one eliminated in this match. She gets eliminated by Liv Morgan. Mercedes Martinez was next. She was another surprise from NXT here. She was the 4th elimination. She got eliminated. And then Liv Morgan came out, eliminated Lana, and Lana returned the favor. Mandy Rose was out. They did a deal with her and Otis a couple of times here. They had done a deal where Mandy Rose looked like she got eliminated the first time, and then Otis, who was sitting on the floor, we couldn't see it on camera at first, and we see Otis sitting, laying down on the floor there, and actually helped Mandy Rose stay in the match. So she would wind up continuing for a little while. Ultimately, she would get eliminated later on by, I guess, Sonya Deville gets credit for the elimination, even though it was Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair wound up eliminating 8 women here. Just going through, Candice LeRae was in number 9. She lasted for a while. Sonya Deville was in at 10. We talked about that. Kairi Sane was in at 11. Mia Yim was a call-up from NXT at 12. Of course, LeRae was a surprise. So was Mia Yim. Dana Brooke was 13. Tamina Snuka, they actually remembered she was actually still on the roster. She was in at 14. Dakota Kai was at 15 from NXT. Chelsea Green, of course, now the client there of this Robert guy. I forget the guy's name already. Chelsea Green didn't last long. She was in at 16. Charlotte Flair, they did the big face-off because eventually we got to a point where it was Alexa and Bianca. After all the others got eliminated, it was just down to those two. Then Bianca Belair eliminated Alexa Bliss. It was Bianca Belair all by herself until Charlotte Flair came out at 17. They went at it for a bit. Naomi came in at 18, so she was making her return, and she got a nice reaction. Beth Phoenix came in number 19. She was a surprise. She was great here. I thought Beth Phoenix came off like $1 million. Toni Storm from NXT UK was a surprise participant. She was in at 20. Kelly was a surprise here at 21. Sarah Logan was in at 22. Natty was at 23. 24 was Xyla Lee from NXT. Zelina Vega was 25. Shotzi Blackheart from NXT was 26. Carmella was 27. Tegan Nox from NXT was 28. And the one thing why they did this, I don't know. They did a deal. They had Santino Marella dress in drag and do the stupid Santina Marella god awful thing here. They went for comedy here. This was number 29. They did this stupid comedy spot here. They had Santina or Santino, who cares? They did this spot with Beth Phoenix and Natalya. And Beth Phoenix, I mean, she got clocked in the back of her head. She was busted open in the back of her head from a spot. I believe it was from Bianca Belair, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. But she took this one shot, and I mean, the back of her head was all bloody. You could see it in her hair. But anyways, they do this spot here with Santina and Beth Phoenix and Natalya. Just stupid comedy here. You ultimately, he or she or whatever eliminates himself. And then number 30 was Shayna Baszler from NXT, who was my pick, by the way. So, I mean, they go through all the motions. At one point, one of the big spots was Naomi getting eliminated to the outside. She did the deal where she caught herself up on the barricade, but her feet never touched. She crawled around, made it to the announce tables, and then she ultimately was able to work her way back in by forming a bridge off the one piece of the announce table and bridging it to the stairs. My one question is, instead of doing all that hard work, why didn't she just hop on one foot and get back into the ring? The deal is both feet have to touch, but one foot's okay. Why didn't she just hop off the table or whatever and just hop on one foot, get back in the ring? Why make it any harder than you had to? So ultimately, we worked down towards the end here. we get down to it. Beth Phoenix, and then the final three were Beth Phoenix, Charlotte Flair, and Shayna Baszler. Beth Phoenix ultimately gets eliminated, so it's down to Charlotte and Shayna Baszler. My pick was Shayna Baszler. And wouldn't you know, Shayna could not get Charlotte over the top completely to the floor. She did almost got her over, but Charlotte was able to body scissors Shayna over the top rope and onto the floor, and Charlotte Flair won the Women's Royal Rumble at 54 minutes and 18 seconds. That's how long the match officially went for. So, Charlotte Flair wins. Charlie Cruz was in the ring. Charlotte Flair cuts a promo basically saying she's a diamond in the light or whatever. Basically shoots on the fans and everyone watching, saying whether they liked it or not, she was going to be the one to win. You know, basically shooting here. So Charlotte Flair is going to be guaranteed a women's title match at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's title. I mean, they did play up the deal where it could be the Raw or SmackDown, but I would assume with the brand split, I would imagine it's going to be the Raw Women's title she's going after. And I'll have thoughts on that here shortly. I gave the match a C-. I thought this was very basic. Having Charlotte win lowered the grade. The stuff with Santino, whatever. Didn't really need it here. Where was Sasha Banks at? That's what I was wondering as well. Where was Sasha Banks in all this? She was backstage apparently, but I guess they didn't want to use her here. I don't know if she's hurt with the ankle or something else, or because we know she was there. So it just surprised me. We did not get Ronda Rousey. I know there was rumors of maybe Nia Jax or Ruby Riott making an appearance. They were nowhere to be found. No Ronda Rousey, no Sasha Banks here. Charlotte Flair wins. It just made no sense to have Charlotte win here. She did not need to win this. I'm sorry. And this is coming from someone who actually is a fan of Charlotte Flair's, believe it or not. I am a fan of Charlotte Flair's, but she did not need to win here. But obviously, you know, what Vince McMahon thinks very highly of her, so that's what we had. So Charlotte Flair won the Women's Battle Royal, or Royal Rumble, I should say, by eliminating Shayna Baszler. So that's what we had. Next match was for the WWE SmackDown Women's title, with Bayley defending the title against Lacey Evans here. This was a god-awful match. This was terrible. The crowd definitely not into it. This match was slow. It was sloppy. Yes, Lacey Evans' daughter and her husband were at ringside. They were really never a factor. But yeah, this match was terrible. Just botches everywhere. It was sloppy. It was slow. The pacing was terrible. The crowd didn't give a crap for it. We get to the finish here. Lacey's going for her springboard moonsault off the top rope. Bayley got the knees up, and Lacey was down, and then Bayley just rolled her up there, grabbed a handful of tights, and got the win. That was it. The match went 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Bayley got the win to retain, as she should have. That was my pick, so at least she won. I gave the match a D-. This was easily the weakest match on the show. It was not good, and the only thing that saved it from being an F was Bayley retaining. Next match was the strap match for the WWE Universal title. We had The Fiend Bray Wyatt defending the title against Daniel Bryan. Now, this was an outstanding match. This was a great match. The incredible story that was told here. I mean, Daniel Bryan getting whipped and dominated by The Fiend for a while. Daniel Bryan ultimately makes the comeback. He gets his heat in on Bray Wyatt using the strap to whip him for a while. Bryan at one point on the outside did a nice move with the assistance of the strap to kind of shoulder post The Fiend a few times. That was cool. Daniel Bryan back in the ring hit the flying knees a couple of times for close near falls. Bray Wyatt ultimately counters and gets back on the attack. He gets the mandible claw on the Daniel Bryan one time, slams him down. Bryan just kicks out of it. And then Bryan tried to fight back, but then ultimately The Fiend does get the mandible claw on again, and this time was able to put Daniel Bryan down with it and win to retain at 17 minutes and 32 seconds. This was easily the best match on the entire show. This was a great match, great storytelling here. This is the best match that The Fiend Bray Wyatt has had since the character has been formed, and that's all in part because of Daniel Bryan. Easily the best match on the show. Told a great story. The fans were into it. They wanted Bryan to win badly, but The Fiend retained as he should have at 17:32. I gave the match an A-. Easily the best match on the show. Almost a perfect match, but still easily the best match on the show, and A- is my grade. The next to last match was for the WWE Raw Women's title. We had Becky Lynch taking on Asuka. Of course, Kairi Sane was out there. And actually, I want to backtrack for a second. In the SmackDown Women's title match with Bayley, there was no sign of Sasha Banks. She did not come out at all. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. Maybe that's something that's really interesting there. But anyways, on to the Raw Women's title match with Becky Lynch and Asuka. Again, I thought this was a good match. Very solid stuff here. I mean, Becky just sold like crazy for Asuka. Asuka was made out to look very dominant here. She dominated on Becky Lynch for a while. Becky ultimately makes the comeback. We get towards the end of the match here. Asuka's, they had somewhat of a ref bump in the corner there. The referee not seeing what was going on. Asuka was going for the mist, but Becky ducked it and wound up Asuka missing the green mist and actually got the green mist on herself. And then Becky was ultimately able to lock in the disarmer after Asuka had gone in her Asuka lock, but Becky was able to counter out of it earlier. Becky was able, after many attempts with trying to get it on throughout the match, she finally gets a disarmer on her. Kairi Sane's on the outside. She does not get up on the apron, doesn't do anything to distract her or the referee. What was the point of having Kairi Sane out there? Asuka does tap out to the disarmer at 16 minutes and 24 seconds to retain the title, as she should have. I think we all knew that Becky was winning and she was going to win by submission, so she gets her win back from last year, and Asuka returns the favor for the submission tap out from last year. So, but again, in Kairi Sane, you gotta distract the referee in that situation or distract Becky. What was the point of having her out there? Anyways, my official grade for the match was a B. I thought it was very solid. Pretty good stuff overall. Not perfect, but I thought it was pretty good overall. And then finally, we get on to the men's Royal Rumble match. Of course, we knew Brock Lesnar was going to enter at number 1. And then, of course, we had Booker T. He came out for guest commentary here. And, of course, another thing I want to mention real quick. We had Tom Phillips out with Jerry Lawler for the Raw commentary. No Vic Joseph to be found anywhere. And it looks like that's going to be the case going forward if you believe what WrestleVotes on Twitter has said. So apparently this is a move that's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen with Vic Joseph, but it's going to be Tom Phillips and Jerry Lawler going forward. So we had Brock Lesnar out there. His first challenger was Elias. Elias does the deal where he sings a song in the aisleway. Brock can't take it. He goes after Elias, gets him back into the ring, and just dismantles Elias. Nails him with the guitar and then sends him packing shortly after. And this would be a theme for a while. Brock Lesnar would just do this. Next would be Eric Rowan. He brought out the cage. They didn't do anything with the cage here. Eric Rowan goes in. Brock Lesnar just eliminates him in seconds. So Eric Rowan's gone. Next would be Bobby Roode. Again, not much better here. Brock Lesnar eliminates Bobby Roode in a matter of seconds, so he's gone. Number 5 would be John Morrison, and again, Morrison, he just gets eliminated very quickly here by Brock, which I think rubs some people the wrong way because Morrison is just coming back, and they're already making him look like a complete buffoon here. So, number 6 was Kofi. Kofi and Brock, people were into that, and Kofi was actually the first one to actually make it the full, quote, 90 seconds, though if you were timing this, there were definitely times throughout both the men's and the women's Royal Rumble matches that the 90 seconds was being very lenient. There was definitely times where it wasn't 90 seconds. So Kofi does last the time. Rey Mysterio Jr. comes in at 7. He gets some shots in, much like Kofi does, and then they hang out with Brock for a little bit, and then Big E is out at number 8 here. They're all on the outside. They weren't legally eliminated yet. They ultimately do a triple team on Brock and actually get some stuff in on Brock here. They all hit their moves there. Kofi had hit Trouble in Paradise. Ray had hit the 619. Big E had hit the big ending. So they hit all their big moves on Brock, but then Brock just kind of recovered and ultimately eliminated all 3 of them. So we're back to Brock alone. Cesaro comes in at number 9. Cesaro doesn't last very long. He gets eliminated shortly after. Number 10 was Shelton Benjamin, the teammates from the University of Minnesota. Shelton Benjamin, we see hugging Paul Heyman on the outside. Why Paul Heyman was out there made absolutely no sense. And by this point, Brock Lesnar was already gassed. It was not even 5 minutes in, and he was already breathing heavy, sweating. He was gassed. He was blown up, whatever you want to call it. it was so apparent here. So Shelton Benjamin looked like they're going to form an alliance. Shelton Benjamin turns his back. Brock German suplexes him and dumps him, so he's out. Number 11, Shinsuke Nakamura. He doesn't last long. He gets eliminated by Brock. Number 12 is MVP, who was one of the surprises here, coming off the Jericho Cruise. He chases Paul Heyman around the ring, which was kind of an interesting spot. Ultimately, Lesnar gets him in the ring and then ultimately gets rid of MVP in short order. Number 13 is Keith Lee. So Keith Lee does actually appear here. Him and Brock have a stare down for a bit. Braun Strowman's in at 14. So these three work together for a while. Ultimately, Brock eliminates both of them. Number 15 is Ricochet. Brock has his way with them. Drew McIntyre's in at 16. And then we finally get what we're going to eventually be seeing here. Drew McIntyre and Brock have a stare down. Ricochet from behind with a low blow. Drew McIntyre eliminates Brock Lesnar, and the crowd reacted like gangbusters here. Incredible stuff here. And that made a lot of people very happy. So we had that. So Brock Lesnar's out, and Drew McIntyre is the one that did it. So clearly that's going to be your WrestleMania main event match here with Drew McIntyre taking on Brock Lesnar for the title. So The Miz is out at 17. He gets eliminated by Drew. 18 is AJ Styles. He gets hurt. I don't know how he got hurt, but he hurt his left shoulder. It looks like it's going to be a shoulder separation for AJ, so he's going to probably be out for a while. Hopefully he'll be back for WrestleMania. He gets eliminated by a little bit later on. Ziggler's out at 19. He gets eliminated. Carl Anderson's out at 20. He gets eliminated 21. Number 21 is Edge. Edge does make it official. He does return here. After all the denials saying that he was not returning and not being in the Royal Rumble, he does make an appearance here. He gets a big reaction here. Crowd was very happy to see him here. He was a house of fire for a while. Looked pretty good. I mean, yeah, he's a little older, but he still looked great. I mean, he looks to be in incredible shape. He ran wild with the spears here for a while, and it was good to see him. Again, why all the denials that he was doing? He should just kept his mouth shut. It just came off as a bad look on his part, but his work in the ring here was outstanding at the Royal Rumble. 22 is Baron Corbin. He ultimately gets eliminated by McIntyre. 23 is Matt Riddle, so we do get both Keith Lee and Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's not much of a factor here. He gets a few shots and he's ultimately eliminated. Luke Gallows is in at 24. He doesn't last long. Randy Orton's at 25 here. He looks pretty good here for a while. He ultimately gets eliminated by Edge. 26 is Roman Reigns. I think what everyone was thinking, who was going to probably win this. 27 was Kevin Owens. He eventually gets eliminated. 28 is Aleister Black. He ultimately gets eliminated. 29 is Samoa Joe. He gets eliminated. And number 30 is Seth Rollins. So, that's what we had there. Seth Rollins. No John Cena to be found anywhere. I know there was maybe rumors of him being in there, but nope. So ultimately, in the end, it comes down to Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns once the smoke clears, as they're the final two. Edge got eliminated by Roman Reigns there to get it down to this point. The fans booed it. And I think the fans were thinking, oh boy, here comes Roman Reigns. He's going to win. They're going to go with the predictable route. And that's what I thought they were going to do as well. But nope, they actually did the right thing here. Drew McIntyre hit this impressive looking Claymore on Roman Reigns and he dumped him out and he got the win. Crowd went ape for this. They were crazy cheering. I think it's fair to say that Drew McIntyre is getting over with the fans. The fans have taken to this guy. They actually did the right thing, which surprised the hell out of me. I thought for sure that Roman Reigns was going to win, and that's what we had there. So Drew McIntyre is going to WrestleMania and finally get a shot at the title against Brock Lesnar. That's definitely what they're doing here. With Roman Reigns, clearly they're setting up for Roman Reigns and The Fiend Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Even though Roman didn't win, that's clearly going to be the match of WrestleMania for the title. For the women, real quick, the thing is, we didn't have Ronda Rousey. Becky Lynch, and I have a theory that maybe they could be setting up something. I don't think it's going to be Becky Lynch and Charlotte for the title. I mean, that's what they want you to think, but obviously I think, Shayna Baszler's got to be involved in the equation here. They could maybe do a triple threat match, or maybe we see Ronda Rousey come back. and maybe she gets involved somehow. Maybe a fatal 4-way, or a maybe they do the deal where Becky loses the title somehow, and we'll see Charlotte and Shayna Baszler. Maybe Ronda Rousey comes back and gets the title off Becky Lynch, and we get Ronda Rousey and Charlotte, and we get Shayna and Becky in separate matches. So that's what we had there. At 60 minutes and 8 seconds, the Men's Royal Rumble won with Drew McIntyre winning. I gave the Royal Rumble itself, after a terrible first half, it really ramped up. I gave it a B+. Not the best Men's Royal Rumble match I've ever seen. 1992 still holds the mark, but overall, I thought the match, once you got Lesnar out of there, it was good. So at 60 minutes and 8 seconds, Drew McIntyre won. My official grade for the 2020 Royal Rumble event itself is a B-. Again, it was okay. It was fine. Not the best Royal Rumble from start to finish I've ever seen, but overall I thought this actually did better than what a lot of us, including myself, thought. So that's my official grade. So there you go. Let me know down in the comments section below what your favorite moment from the Royal Rumble event itself was, and we'll check you out the next time right here on YouTube. Bye for now, everyone.